Hey, good morning, actors. What is up? Mike Moreno here. Listen, I thought I would just jump on because I just finished my morning meditation. And those of you who have been listening to the podcast, those of you who have seen me jump on live on Facebook recently, and certainly seen some of my posts recently, know that I've become a very big advocate for meditation. I think it's something that is incredibly useful. I think it's something that is very important to do, especially for creative artists like yourselves, and especially now. I try to do it at the top of the day. I get up, I have coffee, I drink my lemon water, I maybe stretch. I try not to read the news or do anything on my phone right in the beginning of the day, but most of the time I fail at that. But if I can, I try to make meditation one of the next things that I do in my morning, even before I eat breakfast or anything like that. And it's very helpful. In fact, I'm sitting in my son's room right now. My son is home. It's the weekend, but he'll probably be home for an extended period of time for obvious reasons. But I'm sitting in his room. You can see he is home because all of his stuff is all over our desk. But his room is a very pleasant place for me to be in my apartment because we sort of worked to bring the outside inside in his space. In fact, there's a ceiling above me that is a star ceiling. There's fiber optics in that ceiling that make it look like stars, and then during the daytime when the lights are not on, there's planets there and stuff, and there's sky, and of course we've got two windows with some great light. I've got some great light coming in because it's a beautiful day here in New York City. And then we got the grass carpet type of thing. It was very fun, but my point is that it's a nice space. It's a nice space to be in, and so this is where I try to do my morning meditation. And I recommend that you try to find some time in the morning at the top of the day for yourself. I think meditation is a great way to do it. I just sit here on my knees, and I have a little blanket under me, and I put a pillow underneath, on top of my heels, under my butt, so I'm nice and comfortable. I don't sit cross-legged. That's not something that works for me. That's not my thing. It's just not a pleasant way for me to sit. So the point is, do what works for you, right? Do what is best for you. And try to make something like this where you are just calm, checking in with yourself, not hanging your feelings or your mindset on external stimuli, especially in the beginning of the day. Make that stimuli come from you, right? What is your intention? What are you currently feeling right now? And maybe you'll find I'm a little anxious, I'm unsure, or maybe there is some fear there. But I guarantee if you sit with that for a moment or two longer, you'll start to peel back the layers. You'll get a little bit deeper and find out what is it that you're maybe currently feeling anxious or fearful about. Usually it stems from something that is beyond your control. Usually it stems from something that is unknown, right? And if it is unknown and is beyond your control, then there's no point in worrying about it because you cannot change it. You cannot control it. What can you control? You can control how you feel about things. You can control how the actions that you take. You can control, what yourself, right? What it is that you are in control of. What do you have control of? Well, I'm healthy, right? At the moment, I'm healthy. I should be grateful for that. I am in control of that. I have my own creative wits about me, right? I can do what I want to do for the day. I have these, as you start to slow your mind and clear your mind, you get a lot of thoughts about what can I work on? What can I do? What is something that inspires me, right? Attack the day from that point of view rather than one of fear or uncertainty, because that's going to put you in a far better place. I guarantee you're going to get a lot more done. So I just wanted to share that with you. And I also, for those of you who don't do a lot of meditation or haven't done this very much, I just want to give you a couple of quick points that I have found very helpful for me to do it not only in a regular way, but also do it very easily if you if it hasn't been a part of your life So one of the things that I highly recommend is, like I said, like I don't sit cross-legged. Who cares? Like do what works for you. Even if lying on the ground with maybe like your knees up and your feet on flat on the ground and lying on the ground, maybe a little pillow under your head and just relaxing. As long as you're not falling asleep, as long as you're being conscious of, I'm here to spend time with myself. I'm here to breathe in and breathe out and relax and let my mind be at ease. Then if that works for you, then you should do that. That should be how you practice it, at least in the beginning. So the point is, number one, the position. Find something that works for you so that you can sit down and do it. Look, I have all my stuffed animal friends here. And number two is the idea of clearing your mind. It's a very common mistake, and maybe you've heard of this before, but it's just a misunderstanding of meditation, the idea that you have to clear your mind. You will never be able to do that. So don't worry about it. Don't do it. Don't clear your mind. It's not about clearing your mind. It's about not making your mind run rabid. So when you start to sit down, when you relax, when you decide, okay, and you start touching in with yourself, I'm not thinking, I'm not going to focus on the things that I'm worried about. I'm instead going to keep trying to touch in with, like, how am I feeling? How am I feeling? Can I feel my heart beating? As I breathe in and out, can I feel my chest rising up and down? That starts to bring you less away from the future worries. I didn't do something yesterday, worried about the past. Brings you into now, right? And one of the best ways to do that, and I recommend this to everybody, I heard this from a Buddhist monk, and I have remembered it ever since, is if your mind starts to go away from you, if your mind starts to run down a little path, as it does, of like, oh, what about this? What about this? Oh, I'm worried about this, or, oh, I didn't get this thing done. I should do this today. Happens to everybody, happens to me every morning. Doesn't matter. It's part of the process. Check in by, bring yourself back to now by breathing in through your nose and out your mouth. But every time you're breathing in through your nose, just imagine the air right at the tip of your nose. Really focus on the air coming in and out of your nose. If you just want to breathe in through your nose, that's fine. Coming in and out of the tip of your nose. With your eyes closed, just thinking about this point brings you all the way back into this moment. It gives your mind something to focus on, first of all, but it's something that is happening now. Right now. It's real. It's you. It's now. It's not something you're worried about in the future or the past. That can be very helpful. Do that as often as possible. As often as possible. Even in the day, throughout the day. You're doing the dishes, you're working on something, your mind starts to go in a different direction. Whoa. How can I check in? Just focus on that air coming in and out the front of your nose. Brings you right back to now. What is happening with you now? What's up, Drew? What's up, Nick? Good morning. Talking about meditation. So that's been something that has been very useful for me. That little trick, man, it just always works. It always works. And something else I want to throw out there that I think is like a combination of what meditation can do well and what actors maybe have more experience with is it's a combination of like meditation and the Alexander technique, okay? So if you're not familiar with the Alexander technique, it's really about, people, how can I best describe it? It's more about relaxing your muscles and not having like your muscles dictate what your posture and what your physical stance is, and have it be dictated by your skeletal structure, right? So all the way back to the very basics is this idea of like having this string attached to the top of your head and a little balloon attached to the top of that, and that balloon is floating, and that string is pulling your head to the sky, and everything else just hangs off of it. For me, that's one of the reasons why I sit the way that I do during meditation. I'm wearing like 2 different reds today. Who cares? That's one of the reasons why I sit the way that I do for meditation, because for me it helps the alignment, right? And so oftentimes, as much as I can check in with the little nose breathing in and out the front of my nose, I also try to check in with that alignment, this idea that my head is floating on top of my body. It is rising up, it is floating to the sky, and the rest of my body is just hanging right off of it and like settling into the ground. That opposition helps open my breathing. It helps relax my shoulders. It helps relax my neck. It helps my, as I start to maybe turn my head slightly, which I do, right in the beginning of meditation, I try to just use very slight movements and maybe roll my shoulders back a little bit. Just check in, right? Just be like, is there any tension that I'm holding? Am I like leaning to the right a little bit, which I've noticed a lot recently. I'm like leaning to the right a little bit. Maybe because of how I sleep. I don't know. But that's something that I can control, right? That's something that I have power over. And I go, oh, wait, I am. So what is it like to find the center in there? Oh, maybe it's a little bit less that. Maybe I can like relax some of these muscles. And you start to get in touch and go, oh, there's some muscles here I can relax. Great. That deepens the breathing. I can continue to let my head float up and my spine be a little bit less compressed. Oh, great. My arms are relaxed. My shoulders are falling away. I feel more grounded. And then, if your mind starts to run, right back to the nose, right? Right back to checking in on the breathing that is happening in your nose. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is Mike Moreno's meditation morning, I guess. I was sitting here doing meditation in my room, and I just wanted to share this moment with you guys because I think it can be very helpful, especially right now. So those are some of the techniques that I use. And then, one more thing I'll throw out there. So those were two tips. I'll throw one more tip out there, which is a lot of times people can think about meditation as the mind only, right? Which is the idea that like we're relaxed. Of course, we're relaxing the body, we're doing breathing, but like really what we're trying to do is like slow the mind, let the mind relax, not be thinking about so much, not be more in the present, be more in the now, and not be worried about the future or the past and things that you cannot control, things that honestly don't even exist at this very moment. But something that I heard recently from someone else who does a lot of like energy work and whatever. And by the way, like I'm not really like a woo-woo type of person. I mean, I did a lot of martial arts, which is sort of like where I pull my focus of energy from. And I've always felt like martial arts like dealt with energy in a practical way. Not to say that what these other folks are doing isn't practical. It's just not something that I'm as familiar with and not as necessarily connected to. But I do listen, right? I do listen. I listen to everybody. And I take what works for me. And so anyway, point being that, someone else who actually did study to be a Tibetan monk, and then she, went off on this other journey, and now she helps business owners and stuff, which is fantastic. But anyway, she made a point one time that a lot of times we focus on, like, what is the mind doing? And what are we visualizing here? And how are we using that? And how is it that the mind is something that is sort of drawing our focus in meditation? But we don't listen to the heart. And she said sometimes that can be so much more powerful. There's something going on in there that maybe is you're not in the mind. You're not focused on it. And there might be something really useful for you there when you start to listen deeper down here. So I've tried to incorporate that recently. And I found it to be very useful. I do find that like the mind and manifesting and visualization is very useful for me during meditation. There are some days in which that is a focus and that is my intention. And then there are other days when I try to listen to what am I actually feeling? What am I feeling? Where's that energy coming from? What am I feeling in my heart, right? Am I feeling joy? Am I feeling fear? Am I feeling compassion or, frustration or something? I don't know. And then sit with that and dig into that and just let it be and let it open itself up and express itself and go, where's this coming from? Because there's some power in there. In fact, there's some energy in there. It is energy, like things are happening. And so I try to let that be a little bit more. And then I can float that up. And if I do have to actually have some sort of insight as to like, oh, this is where it's coming from, then the conscious mind, or at least my relaxed conscious mind, can then start to deal with that in a little bit more of an intellectual way of like, oh, well, if I'm feeling this, how can I think about this, right? Like, where does that go? What does that look like? Why would I be feeling this? What is behind that, right? It's harder for the heart to like have those conversations with itself and figure those things out. But the mind can come in once it realizes what's really going on and go, oh, okay, well, what's behind that? What's behind that? What's behind that? Oh, here we are. Here's the reality. Here's what you're really feeling. Here's something that is coming from deep inside you and is actually like more of a grounded energy for you. And that's where you can, and once you start to touch into that, you go, oh, okay, well, this is where I can approach the day from. Oh, I'm not actually fearful. I was worried about these things, but those are things that are external, that are out of my control. I am actually fearless. I'm actually, totally in control of what I'm doing. I am in control of my actions. I am in control of what I do in the day. I am in control of who I connect with, and if I reach out to somebody, or what makes me feel good or not, and the love that I have to give, and how I connect with people. I'm in control of that. That's pretty damn powerful. Well, great. So now that's the mind helping what the heart is feeling, right? At least that's my experience of it. I hope that makes a little bit of sense to you. Thanks, Drew. Thanks for, yes, meditation has been a 2020 game changer for me. Bro, I can't even tell you. It's absolutely fantastic. So thanks for checking in. And that's, that's really something that works for me every day. And I just want to point out one more thing. This isn't something that I sit down and do for 30, 45 minutes. Okay. The longer I do it, the better results I get. But the more I do it, the most important thing is consistency. The more often I do it, then the less time I need to spend each time I do it. Make sense? I'm pretty sure most actors and creative artists are familiar with that. If you practice something, then you're going to get better results out of each time you practice. If you are learning the flute, and you've practiced 30 minutes a day for 6 weeks, then when you only have 5 minutes to practice, those are going to be some damn good 5 minutes, because you know what to do. You know what to focus on. You know where to get your best results. So I don't necessarily do it for 30 minutes every day. Sometimes I don't have time to do that. But because I make a point to do it every day, then it doesn't matter if I have 5, 10, 15, 25, 30 minutes to do it. Those little moments of time are focused on self, are focused on the things that I can control, are focused on the things that allow me to feel the most fearless, the best, the fullest human being that I really am. And it's those moments that's the most important result. That's what you get out of it, is connecting back to who you are right now and the things you're capable of right now and the life that you're living right now and what that means for you. And so that's what I get out of it. And I hope this is helpful for you guys. If it is, let me know. I'm going to try to share this then. Oh, hey, what up? Actor teacher. How are you? I'm going to try to share this on my IGTV. I think I should be able to. So, just so that more people have access to it. But yeah, that's really the point. Thanks for being here this morning. I hope this does help you. And let me know if meditation is something that you're taking on. I know Drew, this is something that he's practicing now, and he's seen a lot of great results with it. It's something that I can't recommend enough. I'm happy to talk more about it. You can always hit me up in the DMs, ask some questions or whatever. But those are some of my tips. Those are some of the things that I've been working on as I sit here in my office / my son's room. Look at the sky. I love having creative friends. I love that we could build that thing. Great. So there you go. Enjoy your Sunday. Take care of yourself. Be the fearless, awesome, creative artist I know you to be. And I will see you soon.